With the election, there's a lot of buzz, so let's just talk about the word elect. This is a great activity for younger kids where you just focus on the stem elect. You can go over the sounds that you hear in the word elect, and then you can think about bigger words that you can make by adding prefixes or suffixes. And you can make a simple web like this. Now, a lot of these your students may know, and some of them you can introduce to them. And then you can talk about how the suffixes change the part of speech or the job of the word in a sentence, and how prefixes can change the meaning a bit. Like in re-elect means to elect again because re means again. Now they've probably seen ing, s, and ed a lot of times, but you can reinforce that those are attached to verbs and it changes the tense. But when we add or, elector, that means a person who, and it becomes a noun. Same with adding ion, that creates a noun, and you can talk about how that word within a sentence will be different. And so you can give some sentence ideas and show all these words within sentences to help really sort of drive home that concept of how suffixes can change the job of a stem or of a base word. So now, if your kids are a little bit older, like third and above, and actually even second grade, let me show you how you can dig even deeper. Okay, so for students who are a little bit older, like third and above, or even second grade could probably handle this because they're words that they've seen, you can take a look at words that have the same base element as elect. So the word elect has two morphemes. It has the morpheme E, which is an assimilated prefix of the morpheme X, EX, which means out. And then lect is our bound base, and some people call it a root, I call it a bound base element. And the bound base element, lect, means to gather, choose, and in some cases to read, but usually gather, choose. So when we think about the word elect, we can think about choosing out of a group. That's basically what you're doing when you elect someone. You're choosing them out of other people. Then you can look at what suffixes can be attached, like we just did in that last activity. We can have elects, elected, electing, election, elective, and elector. FUL doesn't go with elect, it goes with a different one. Then we can look at some other words that use that same base element, and we can make connections with that word. So now your students aren't just learning about the word elect and election, they're going to learn about a lot of different words. So when we put COL with our base element, we get collect. COL is an assimilated form of the prefix COM, which means with or together. So let's think about that meaning. When you collect something, you really are gathering things together. So collect. Then we can take a look at which suffixes work. Collects, collected, collecting, collection, collective, collector. Again, not collectful. But we can then talk about writing those words. So now we've seen this a bunch of times. We can spell lect, and we can think about these common prefixes that we've seen before. COM is definitely one they've seen. So you can explain how sometimes the M changes to another letter like L because this base element begins with L, and you can write some words. If you can spell election, you can spell collection. So now let's look at the next one. This one surprised me, that SE is a prefix. I did not know that. And it was the prefix that means, let me check on this one because I don't quite remember now, apart or away. So if this means apart or away, and then this means to gather or choose, it's kind of like elect, where when you select something, you are choosing it away from something else. So that's what you're selecting. So we can do select, selected, selected. You can go through the list and find out which ones are real words. If you ever come to a place where you're like, is that a word? Like, is selective a word? Let's just say you weren't sure. Look it up in front of your kids. I do it all the time. I'll look up words and be like, I'm actually not sure. It sounds like a word, but maybe it just sounds like a word because I love adding suffixes to words that maybe aren't really words. So feel free to look up in front of your students, show them how you're still exploring as well, because I know I am. Here is another prefix I did not know about. NEG means not. And so when you neglect someone or something, you're not choosing them, right? So talk about the meaning of the word neglect and how that can relate to not choosing someone. And again, go through all of your suffixes and see which ones make real words, write them down. That's where we have our FUL. We can make neglectful, to be full of neglect. And then last, intellect, which is kind of fun, right? That one I didn't expect. So that one, when you make that one, it doesn't quite, you can't use these same suffixes. And if you really wanted to expand it, this word matrix actually has more suffixes that you could add. I wanted to simplify it, but you could make intellectual and things like that. So you could even go a little bit farther if you wanted to and add these prefixes on. So you can re-elect someone. Someone can be something can be unselected, like maybe you didn't select them. You can recollect something, or you can pronounce it recollect. So that's kind of interesting if you dive in like that. So anyway, a lot you can do just by starting with the word elect, breaking it into its two morphemes, and then exploring that base element a scoosh more with these words that they have seen before. And now think of all the words that they can spell simply by understanding this word matrix here. So I hope that this was helpful.